Hello race fans, I am Fuzzy Face and welcome back to this McLaren playthrough of Motorsport Manager Career Mode. We are aiming this time for Tondela, but before we move on to the Portuguese Grand Prix that we've come out, what an event Baku was yesterday. An absolute crazy race, crashes, safety cars, drama galore. We had Hamilton and Vettel getting into a little bit of argy-bargy off a restart, or just before a restart as well. Vettel running into the back of Hamilton. Vettel's fault in my view. The telemetry data showed that Hamilton didn't slow down, he didn't brake check Vettel. I think Vettel was just a little bit too keen to get on the gas to try and fight off Perez, getting a good run on him down that long straight that the Baku track has down into turn 1. He was a little bit too keen, because Baku, you do really have to back off when the safety car's coming in, so it was understandable that Hamilton slowed down on the corner, maybe a little. Well, he didn't actually slow down, but he did actually run through, and it was shown that he did that exact same thing on the restart for the safety car before that, so not his fault. We had Force India having a really strong showing. They possibly would have placed a lot higher if Perez and Ocon didn't have that. They ran into each other. Was it on turn 1? I'm guessing that was turn 1 again. A lot of incidents around that sort of area on the track this time. Absolutely brilliant for Force India, but Williams outperformed themselves. Lance Stroll losing it on the line, second place, but a brilliant podium for the 18-year-old. I think he's 18, isn't he, Lance Stroll? But an absolute brilliant performance from Lance Stroll. Felipe Massa was possibly going to be a lot higher, but he had some problems with his car as well. And yeah, it's just an amazing race overall. McLaren actually got points as well, didn't they? Fernando Alonso finished 9th. He possibly would have been a lot higher. He did get a bit higher in the order a little bit earlier, but Bottas and Hamilton, Vettel, they'd all dropped down. It was obvious that they were going to be able to get back past him before the end of the race. So 2 points for McLaren. They do still sit in 10th in the constructors standings, because I think Sauber picked up another point, didn't they? I think Wehrlein finished 10th, so I think Sauber picked up another point. So is that 5 points for Sauber and 2 points for McLaren? So it does look good for McLaren. Maybe they can. I think they've got another new engine to put in for the next race. I think they were saving it. They didn't want to really stick it in the engine, stick it in the car this time around, since they all had massive grid placed planets. I don't know if that was for a gearbox change or not, but anyway, we're going to get straight onto our series. We've got Alonso back in the car to see what he can do with the new upgrades that we've got. Obviously Jenson Button in the last race took over in Black Sea. He had a really good finish. He finished 5th, and he actually finished 7th in qualifying. It was the first time we've cracked the top 10, so absolutely brilliant performance for Jenson Button. So hopefully Fernando Alonso can get a little bit more out of this car. Obviously top speed is useful. Tondela, it's pretty much the same. It's but we possibly in Black Sea we're a little bit better because it was more aero focused. This time we've got a gearbox, which isn't our best part, but the front wing, we're really high up with the front wing, so maybe we can have a good crack at this track at getting into the top 10 again. We're not building any new parts because we don't have any money at the moment from building the last engine part and bringing Paddy Lowe into the team. Although we are going to get $1 million back, I think we should have a nice offer here. Yeah, so we've got an upfront payment from Ishikawa Malt Whiskey. It's the best one bonus payment wise, but we're going to go for the upfront payment because it's not the one that we're going to be accepting when it comes to race time. So 3.3, we do have not enough to build another new engine part. What did we actually build last time? We actually built something else, didn't we? It was a gearbox we focused on last time, so we do have this new gearbox as well going into the car of Fernando Alonso this time. Do we have enough money to build another new gearbox? We do, but there's nothing here. There's nothing really here at all, so the gearbox is not something we can make a massive improvement on before the end of the season. You can possibly get this one. So we're going to get to the point where we're near enough 900, which is decent enough, and then maybe we can get 3 builds done. We can have that, and that will put us over the 900 mark. Maybe we can get to that point before the end of the season, but we do want another engine build to do, because we can, before the end of the season, we can do that one. 2, 3, and we possibly would be able to add this plus 60 as actually we could. This one that adds 100 on, right, and then we can add the random legendary component. It could give us a plus 50, a plus 90, or a plus 65. So we're going to be able to get a pretty decent engine towards the end of the season, so that's looking good for us there. So we're not actually going to build out this time around, or should we actually focus on the rear wing? Yeah, let's just get a rear wing started. we might as well try and get as much done to the car as we can. We have been working pretty much exclusively on the gearbox, just to try and get it up to speed reliability wise. We're going to keep it that way, so we've got the gearbox ready. We're going to go this way with it, so then we should have this pretty much done for the next race, which is Cape Town, which is the Monaco. I think we're going to keep Fernando Alonso in the car this time, just because he's already missed his race this season. I don't want to take him out of the car for another race this season. I don't want to risk upsetting him, because if we go here, Fernando Alonso, he won't actually re-sign his contract yet because there's a lot of time to go. Button will re-sign if we do want him. He is on a lot of money. But if Stoffel Van Dorn ends up leaving, that is going to be what we're going to have to do. Is we're going to have to go with JB22. But Van Dorn at the moment, his morale is really low. He's got this frustrated reserve stat. It does go in 7 weeks' time, so it might get him near enough back there. But it's pretty touch and go at the moment, because at the moment he won't actually re-sign. So if it comes to that point, we're possibly going to go with Jenson Button. We might actually go for bringing some youth, maybe, because Jenson Button's getting pretty on there. He possibly is going to retire at the end of this season, maybe. He might try and give it a crack and go for another year. After this, if we release him, he'll probably retire. But he is still a decent rated driver, but we might make a move for Carlos Sainz. There is also Pascal Wehrlein. They're possibly the two that we could go for. Maybe Sergio Perez. Just a couple of things to think about, but we're going to jump into Tondela right now. I don't think there's anything to go through here much more. 11 weeks still to go until the test track is built. So yeah, we're going to jump straight into Tondela now. So 450,000 we can take. Just set up the tyres here. Yeah, so we'll run practice as we always do. We'll skip through practice. We'll come back to watch the sim qualifying, and then we'll do the race. So we'll go from there. So here we go with Q3 qualifying. Hopefully we can crack the top 10 during this session. That would be our aim. We've got both our cars out on track now. Alonso just in the 10th. It doesn't matter too much at this point, but it's just the first time when they've got both cars in to Q2. I can't remember if we did that or not last race, but Alonso outside the top 10 after Q1. Not too bad, but there's a lot of gap to make up here to what the Williams have done and the Force India. We were pretty much on a par with Esteban Ocon. Hopefully we can pick up a little bit of time from somewhere, but there we go. We've got both Haas's out, we've got both Renaults out again. We've got a Toro Rosso out this time. Sauber's has scraped through. Yeah, so one of the Toro Rossos has replaced Van Dorn in the bottom 5. So it looks like we've made it. Can't see improvements with both cars, although I think the last track suited our car more than the Tondela track does. Alonso 11th at the moment. Is he going to be coming out again? Can he go a little bit quicker? There's not much to Kvyat here. And a lot of these cars are actually doing it on medium tyres, so that's why Ocon's dropped down a little bit. Perez has done it on a medium, but he's still managed to go quicker than us. So we need to try and beat Kvyat here. If Alonso can go quicker on his second lap, and he's not, he's going slower. So, yeah. We're outside the top 10 here, so Alonso 11th, Van Dorn 14th, so that's not really too bad for what we're going for. We're aiming just to get inside the top 10. We want to be 9th or higher just to get the sponsorship bonus is what we're aiming for. So that would be the best thing. So both our drivers eliminated this time round with both Saubers, and we've got one of the Force Indias behind us. We don't have a lot of... There's not a lot of distance between us and the other Force India, which is who we are competing with this year. We don't have a lot of hope of catching up with the Williams. The Mercedes looking strong again. They have recovered slightly. They have had both their cars win the last 2 races. But doing that, they've both had cars outside the points, I think. So they both are still struggling. And Verstappen, it looks like there's been a bit of rain there. So it's thrown up some interesting situations here. Is that going to be the way it's going to stick here? We do have cars out on track, so it's going to sort of right itself. Yeah, it righted itself at the end then. I thought we were going to end up with Perez and Kvyat on the front row of the grid. But it looked like the weather just turned in time for everyone to get back out on track. And we've got the Mercedes 1 and 2, followed by the Red Bull of Verstappen. So a nice lap from Verstappen there. And we've got Vettel, Ricciardo Raikkonen, followed up by the Williams, Force India, Toro Rosso of Kvyat, and the Williams of Stroll there in 10th. So it looks like Toro Rosso giving a stronger car to Kvyat in this game. Carlos Sainz struggling a little bit here. So let's get in to the race here. We'll just click soft for a moment. Let's just have a look. I can't remember how many laps there are. 20 laps. It's going to be a stretch. So it's going to be... We're going to start on the softs, and we might be able to go soft, medium, soft with both cars. Looks like the plan, it might have to be soft, medium, medium with Van Dorn. We've got full and excellent with Van Dorn. Yeah, so it's pretty hard to know what to pick, isn't it? Because we could go for the 15% bonus. Yeah, we'll have to, because it's going to be cutting it pretty fine, whereas we can go soft and race trim. Because I'm sure Alonso can get a little bit more out of his tyres than Van Dorn can. 714, 23, so quite a bit there, can't he? He could also do it on a one stop. We could go for a one stop on the hard tyres. There's going to be a lot of pace lost on these hard tyres when we can do 2 stops on the soft. Alonso could actually do this full race on the soft tyre if you wanted him to, if you wanted to really stretch it out. So maybe the first 2 stints are going to be soft and see where we can get to, and then get onto the medium tyre to finish if we don't think we're going to be able to make it. If we do think we can make it, then we can go onto the soft as well for the end of the race. Everyone up here is going to be 2 stopping, so we might be able to make a couple of moves here. Hopefully we can get a good start. We've got a Williams in front and the Toro Rosso, so hopefully we can get a nice start. We've got the 2 Saubers behind, and there we go. Alonso, a great start. He gets up the inside of Williams. Stroll made a bad start. It looks like he's going to come back. We're going to get the Saubers coming back at us. Stroll shoots through. Can Alonso keep it on the inside? He can do. He can do. He's trying to get past Massa as well. Just Van Dorn's dropped down a few places. A few cars have got past Van Dorn at the start there. Let's just keep it. Stroll coming back, and is that Raikkonen? No, that's Vettel, dropped all the way down to 9. So we've made a pretty good start, and it looks like Alonso's going to get a nice run. There, look at that. He gets past. Who have we got past as well? That's a Force India of Perez. I keep thinking that's a Mercedes car, the Force India in this game, because I haven't changed the livery to pink. It looks like we're going to get a nice run on Kvyat as well. So masterful move, and Van Dorn as well has managed to recover up to 12th place. So an absolutely brilliant start from both of our drivers here. Kvyat, the Toro Rosso, the #1 Toro Rosso car is a little bit stronger than us. Maybe we should start thinking about turning down. Turn down the fuel load. We don't want to try and recover too much fuel before the end of the race. There could also be rain. I forgot to look at the weather forecast before this. The temperature is going to drop. We're in a pretty good range for getting heat into these tyres. Maybe we should go. Maybe we should push a tiny little bit longer, get these tyres fully up to optimum temperature. And there we go, and make a move on Massa as well. We're now chasing down Kimi Raikkonen in front. Alonso having an absolute stormer at the start here. Maybe we try and use a little bit of boost. I don't think it's going to do much good. We're a little bit too far. And Van Dorn up into the points as well. Give him a little bit of a boost to pull away from the Force India. And he's got a Ferrari. He's managed to get past Perez and Vettel as well. Absolutely brilliant from Van Dorn. Hopefully that's going to make him a little bit happier. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Kevin Magnussen has gone off. He's hit the barrier down here, but Alonso doing absolutely brilliant, and he's going to get a nice run on Raikkonen here. Can we use the boost? No, wasted that boost, didn't we? And we got a couple of cars diving into the pit. Ah, Van Dorn's crashed, and we've got a virtual safety car out. That is why a lot of these cars are hitting the pits, so they're going to get almost a free pit stop if they're managing to get into the pits. So that's possibly going to put Kvyat back ahead of us. We can run low here, so it is going to work into our hands with the strategy. Alonso wanted to come into the pits, but he couldn't do it. Only Kvyat has managed to get into the pits. Everyone else has stayed out, so there's only Kvyat that managed to get into the pits under the virtual safety car. Instead of Alonso crashing this time, it's Van Dorn crashing. The battery's not, and we're going to have to get ready for this. Ready for the virtual safety car ending. And we've got a lot of these cars ahead pitting. Raikkonen's already thinking about pitting. And a lot of these cars are going to go on for the medium tyre. So we've got quite a fresh soft, so it's not going to quite work as sort of an undercut, even though it's going to be a few laps before they do it. And there we go, a few cars dive into the pits. Raikkonen and Stroll. So we only have to concentrate on Alonso for this race. So 5th place at the moment. Has Raikkonen come back out? 13 seconds to Raikkonen. It's a pretty short pit lane, isn't it? Because he cut some of the track out. So maybe it's only about 15 seconds is a pit stop. Not sure, but here we go. We've got Vettel absolutely storming behind us now. It's coming to the pit, so we're not going to waste our boost just yet. We'll use a little bit of it. He's going to come into the pit, so it's not going to bother us if he gets past us. We are possibly going to lose places to both Ferraris through the pit stops. We do have a lot of tyre left over, so we can actually push this a little bit and still work within our strategy. Because we only want to get this to about lap 7. We can possibly get another 3 laps out of this soft tyre at the moment. We're only 3 seconds behind the lead, and we've got another crash. Esteban Ocon in one of the Force Indias has gone off as well. No safety car this time out, which would have worked into our hands pretty well. Maybe. Or maybe it wouldn't. It could have done, because a lot of these have made pit stops. We could have possibly got out just ahead. So Vettel is 13 seconds behind, so we'll just have to contend with that at the moment. We've got Verstappen coming into the pits. Hamilton as well should be pitting. Bottas, so Mercedes not having their usual nightmare through the pit stops, it looks like. So we are still pushing a little bit. We've got a nice little bit of life left in this tyre. So we're just going to have to see where we feed back out. We are in the lead at the moment. We're not in the effective lead of the race. Let's try and cool these tyres down a tiny little bit here. Just cool them down a tiny little bit. Push it back to neutral. We can go around once more. It looks like we're going to be able to go around once more, just about. Hopefully we don't hit the wall. Should we? No, we do want to make this next lap count, don't we? So conserve, and we'll set up our pit stop now. Coming in for another soft tyre. This one should be a little bit easy to manage because we don't have to push it on that first lap. We don't have to waste a little bit of that tyre on that first lap. So there is 16 seconds back to Vettel at the moment, and we are actually extending that gap. Because they're on. Well, Vettel's on the same tyre. We've got a lot of boost here, so we'll use some of it, and then we'll use the rest of it when we're about to hit the pit stop. 20% is the... we've got rain, and that's worked out pretty good for us because everyone else has made a pit stop. It has played brilliantly into our hands here. So we can get onto a pair of intermediates here, just as the rain is starting. And we can use this boost. Just don't want Alonso to crash here. Vettel 17 seconds behind. We're still pulling ahead here. So we're going to get back to mediums. Should we still... Is everyone else going to be hitting the pits as well here? Is everyone else setting up for a pit stop? It doesn't look like it at the moment. They're going to possibly try to stay out for another lap. So we are 5th. Where are we? Yeah, we're on the outside there. So we should be quicker at this point in time. The rain, I don't know how long the rain's actually going to last. But Alonso now, 4th. So this could have played brilliantly into our hands here. We're closing down on Bottas now, who is on a slower tyre. Could we be about to... The miracle of... what happened there? What happened? He slowed right down. How did we lose space there? Or did someone come into the pits? Don't know. Let's push anyway. Bottas is remaining out at the moment. We do need to try and get past him. He's on a hard tyre, so he's going to be losing a lot of race pace at the moment. We've got Hulkenberg in front of us, who hasn't made a pit stop yet. It's worked out pretty well for a Renault as well. But we should be able to catch him. He's got to make a pit stop. Keep a little bit of temperature in these tyres, don't we? The rain looks like it's going to be there for a while. What's that last corner? It seems to slow down a lot. And Bottas has stayed out on the hard tyre as well. We're not actually gaining that much tyre. There we go. I think the track's just about changed condition now where we can actually pull away. We've got Kvyat, Perez. The order's sort of messed up here. We're still pulling away. Vettel hasn't actually pitted yet. So it's going to throw up an interesting result at the end of this race, whether we can actually go on to win it or not. That is another question. Just waiting to see if this rain stops. out for a little bit. Should we try and recover the fuel since we're in first place? We're still pulling away from Danny Kvyat, are we? Or is he actually coming back at us? No, we're actually getting away. We've got a little bit of boost as well that we can use. Just don't want Alonso to crash here. We don't want anything untoward happening. We don't want to crash out. When's it going to stop raining? It doesn't look like it's going to stop raining before the end of the race, does it? It's going to sort of hold steady. Hopefully it does stop raining, then it plays into our hands again. Otherwise we're going to have to be coming in for... But we're doing a really good job of looking after these intermediate tyres. There's a lot of cars down here have only just about got their freshmans on. We can make a pit stop and get out ahead of them. We can possibly make a pit stop and get out ahead of these as well. So it's just all about what we can do here. And it looks like it's going to start raining again. A little bit harder towards the end, so we are going to have to change his intermediate tyre at some point. Oh, thankfully Kvyat is going to have to change his intermediates as well. Should we make it early? You can get a lot of life. We've got about 3 laps left on this. We're not going to be able to stretch it out towards the end of the race. We do just want to see if it holds off though. No, it's going to get even heavier, is it? Is it going to turn into a race where the wet tyre? Let's try and conserve these tyres a little bit, because we might be able to just about see whether it's going to turn into a wet race fully at the end, a full wet race. We might be able to try and drag this tyre out to that point. Come on, come on, there we go. We've got 7 laps remaining. Still, I can't quite see it just yet. No. It gets a little bit wetter, but then the rain stops a little bit after that. So we've got 13 seconds. We should be able to get back out ahead of Ericsson. I'll be pretty much on him. He's got a pit stop again. Raikkonen's going to have to pit again. Massa possibly won't have to pit, but we can get back out ahead of him. And then these two don't have to possibly pit again. So should we rag this tyre for just 1 lap? We'll push it for 1 lap and then we can just turn everything down after this lap. Should we hit the pits on this one? Because there is a... Kvyat's going to be coming into the pit, so we're not going to be behind him. And Ericsson's coming in as well, yeah, so we'll go for it this time. We'll go for it. We'll get onto a quicker tyre, because we should be coming out in first place. Yes. So that's worked out pretty well there. So we'll push into the pits, and then when we come out of the pits we can use all of this boost and try to get back ahead. Nice quick pit stop there. We're going to go medium. We've got 5 laps left. We should be able to recover this amount of fuel, so we can push now out of the pit. A little bit. We've got 6 seconds to Kimi Raikkonen, who's on a one intermediate pair. He's possibly going to have to pit. Again, 6.6. He's again managing to keep that little distance there. So let's go use another 10% of this battery, and then we'll use another little bit of this battery going down the pit straight. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe we're actually about to win this. We're going out of 40 down to 40. Pulling away here. Pulling away. And down this other straight we'll use another 10% of the battery. 8 seconds. Oh my god, I can't believe we're actually going to win a race. Just played into our hands perfectly, did the weather here. And again, we'll use some battery. We'll take it down to 20 this time. 10 seconds back, and it's Verstappen who's behind us now. So Raikkonen looks like he's pitted. Massa can possibly get to the end of the race. So we've got both. No, we've just got 1 Mercedes outside the points. We've got a Ferrari outside the points. More importantly, Perez is 4th. But Ocon has crashed. It's just a shame that Van Dorn crashed, because he was on pretty much the same strategy as Alonso. He possibly would have been able to stretch out to get onto the intermediates as well. So if he could have stayed on the track, we might have ended up with a 1-2. But as it is, it's 11 seconds back. Verstappen's Massa's actually closing in the Mercedes-powered Williams, but no, he's falling behind again. He might have to pit. His tyres are pretty much shot to the point that Kvyat might be able to make a move on him. Let's just have a look here. There's Massa. Kvyat is gaining slightly. We've got Perez, who's got Verstappen breathing down his neck, and there goes Verstappen. That's brilliant for us. can Raikkonen now push Perez further down the order? That would be brilliant as well if Raikkonen can actually get on. Perez has actually got some boost as well. And then we've got a Sauber. Bottas dropping down the order. His tyres have gone. Alonso, meanwhile, about to begin. Oh, no, he's got... It's on his penultimate lap. We've had a few cars come into the pits as well. So Vettel's had to pit again. Ricciardo's had to pit again. Bottas has had to pit again. So that's not going to work out too well for them. Which means Perez has moved back up a place. But Raikkonen might be able to catch him before the end of the race. And we've done a good job here of getting the fuel load pretty much bang on. We're going to recover that pretty easily. We've got a lot of tyre left here. We don't want to go into conserve mode. We've got a lot of time back to the next fastest car, which is Danny Kvyat in the Toro Rosso, having an absolute brilliant race himself. He's done 3 stops as well, so the rain worked out for him. So let's just see if we can get a nice big lead. Might as well use all of the battery power. Coming up to the finish line. Here we go, 16 seconds and gaining. Go back up in that high mode. Finish the cross the line. Alonso comes, and Perez has actually lost a place to Massa. He's got enough room to Raikkonen, so Perez is not going to finish lower than 5th. Unfortunately, we were hoping that Raikkonen might be able to catch him, but it didn't happen. An absolutely brilliant race from Fernando Alonso there. I can't quite believe that we've won a race, but that's the weather for you in this game. It can work out in your favour if you can just drag things on far enough to hit the rain. It just worked out with our strategy pretty perfectly. The top 10 cars all starting on the worn soft tyres. We wouldn't be able to do that. This strategy wouldn't have worked for us if we had been in the top 10. So pretty fortunate that we finished outside the top 10 in qualifying. Otherwise this result wouldn't have gone our way, because we would have been on the worn soft tyres. There we go, 25 points. So we should now be in 5th place in the championship with a little bit of a buffer. Did someone get disqualified? Pascal Wehrlein must have hit each other at some point. Nico Hulkenberg and Pascal. It looked like the strategy was going to work out at some point for Nico Hulkenberg, because he went really long on a pair of hard tyres, but he ended up having to do 3 pit stops. I don't know where he hit. That was caused by having to pit after being hit by Wehrlein, or he hit Wehrlein. But yeah, so a pretty interesting race there with the top order, and not just first Ferrari is 6th, so no Mercedes or Ferrari in the top 5, so a nice interesting race there. So there we go, Fernando Alonso back in the seat, 1st place, puts him up to 6th in the drivers' standings. Stoffel Van Dorn still 15, Jenson Button, his one race is in 13th, and there we go, that puts us into 5th, 1 point behind Mercedes. Mercedes still having a nightmare, and more importantly we've got an 8-point buffer back to Force India. It's not a massive buffer. Toro Rosso obviously picked up points as well, so they're staying in touch with us, but Sauber, Renault, Haas all struggling still. And we had a message of congratulations there from Lance Stroll, congratulating Alonso on finishing 1st. Absolutely brilliant race. I don't think we're going to be able to expect another result like that until we've actually upgraded the engine. That was a good bit of fortune for us there, but we have pit stop gear, tyre changes, and what has happened? New personality trait added, morale plus 15. So what's happened to him here? We're just gonna have to, and we came 1st there, so a nice big change to the happiness of the chairman. Just gonna have to have a quick look at what's happened to Alonso. I don't know whether that's still his injury knocking down his driver stats. I don't think he might not have quite recovered yet, but I'm sure he did do. And Van Dorn getting even unhappier. Only £800,000 for that race. We could have gone for the big bonus, but there's no chance of knowing that this result was going to happen at all. Do have a scouting report back on Gamara. Pretty decent, up to 4 stars. We did scout Matsushita, one of the McLaren rookies, one of the development drivers. He can only get to up to 3.5. Nick De Vries is not in this database for some reason, one of the other development drivers, so we can actually do that. So Mercedes AMG Motorsport, that's just for practicing an interview with Motorsport. Your chairman has reported got telling some reporters that he's tired of Fernando Alonso's awful performances. He just won the race. He should stick to the boardroom. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that, should I? I might load this game and change the answer just so we don't lose that 15%. Yeah, so what happened to Fernando there? What happened to his stats? Nothing. All his stats are back up to normal here, aren't they? I don't know what happened. It's the game having a little bit of a meltdown. Yeah, so absolutely brilliant there. We're going to have a new rear wing going on the car, possibly for next race. We're going to have the gearbox fully upgraded to a point that I'm sort of happy with. We're going to have another build, and we've got a wet race at Cape Town as well. It was like wet practice, dry qualifying, but it's going to be another wet race. So hopefully we can get some out of Cape Town, which is the equivalent of Monaco. So absolutely brilliant. Can't quite believe we won the race, but anyway, that's it for this episode of Motorsport Manager. I hope everyone is enjoying it. If you're not already subscribed, as I always say, hit that subscribe button down below. Give me a thumbs up if you think we did excellent winning this race, and leave a comment down below on who you think should replace Van Dorn, because I don't think we're going to be able to get him happy enough to sign a new contract. Do you want to see Button back in the car if he's not retired for one last year? Do you want to see us make our move for the next new driver that we're going to be bringing in, possibly Pascal Wehrlein, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, who we had in the Ferrari save? There's a bunch of options, but anyway, until next time, I'll see you down the road for the Cape Town Grand Prix, and goodbye.